Hello again, YouTubers. I was wanting a nitro on-road car. On the sides are both RS4 Sport 3s. Over here you got the drift. This has been replaced, brushless setup with it comes brushed, but I put a Mamba Max Pro 3800 kV brushless setup, Savox high-speed servo, Spectrum radio system, all the good stuff in it. And this one is stock except for a Spectrum Savox servo. This is the Flux. These cannot be found. Very hard to find these. Same with this one that I just got. The Fluxes are damn near impossible to find right now. You can't get tires, you can't get, pretty much anything for them. Because HPI has been bought out by Ripmax or something like that. So right now they're in, what's the word?
Transition.
Yeah, they're in transition to get everything put back. The right people in the right places. But this is stock except for the Savox servo and the Spectrum SRS system for heading hold. I do speed runs with it. It's got a high-speed gearing system in it. It does over 100 miles an hour. But I want a nitro on-road. So, after looking at some, I looked at the Traxxas Fortec. I'm really not a Traxxas fan, but I do like the 3.32 with the low-C 3.4 carburetor on it. I like the Traxxas 3.3. I hate the 3.3 carb because it's such a pain in the ass. It's a bitch to tune once it's got some age on it. So I set my eyes on HPI. Let's see what HPI has. So I found that they had the RS4 3 EVO and EVO Plus, and the EVO Plus was the most recent one. I really don't like the purple look of the EVO. So this is just the body. I'm gonna go over things I do and don't like about it. There's very few things that I don't like about it, but the body is Vaughn Griffin, or whatever his name is. He's a drifter, world champion drifter. They have a cutout here so you can get to the pull start. It does have a pull start. I prefer the pull start over the roto start. It has a cutout up front. I don't know if that's for the priming the priming pump right here, or to let air, because it's basically right in front of the engine. So when you're moving, air goes across it. I am going to cut out and make it look like the windows are rolled down some. Just a little gap. But getting to the chassis itself, oh yeah, this, one thing I really like about this is this isn't molded to the body. This is screwed on. What I'm going to do is put a, like a supercharger scoop on the top of it in time. So I'm going to put that off to the side. Nothing has been changed on this except when you get it, I've seen other unboxing videos, you get a, the bottle to put the fuel in and put it into the tank. You get a glow plug igniter with just a D battery. I have a Hot Shot, I believe, a Hot Shot 2. Right over there you can see I have Traxxas fuel. I stick with Traxxas fuel because I have used it for over a year now and I've never had a problem. 20%. Eventually I may jump up to 33% when I get all new engines for everything. Or I may even try a different fuel completely. I will say, when it comes to engines, to nitro engines, a lot of people told me this, and I even found it out myself. HPI engines are some of the easiest, most user-friendly nitro engines in the industry. When I went to break it in, second pull on the pull start, it fired right up. I did the 3 tanks, just letting it idle with it up off the ground, just to get something to put it up off the ground so the wheels, so it won't move, of course. And I just let it idle in my garage, leaving doors cracked so I could hear the idle. If anything went wrong, I could run outside and change certain. If I need to lower the idle, add a little more fuel at the low speed needle, things like that. But overall, it's been the easiest nitro motor I've ever had to tune in my life. Well, not my life, hell, since I've been in the hobby, and I've only been in for a little over a year. And I've done several Traxxas motors, close to 10. No, over 10. OS motors, and this is my first HPI motor. So from all the motors, I'd say the OS and the HPI motors are the most user-friendly, HPI being the most user-friendly. This has the 0.15, I believe it is. It's 3 cubic centimeters, the 3 cc. But in my hand is the receiver that comes with it. And this is the transmitter that comes with it. Transmitter is the TF40, and the receiver is the RF40. It's actually quite a small receiver. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of it because it's waterproof. It's very small. I like that. And I also like, I mean, if someone offers me 30 bucks for this, I would let it, 30, 40 bucks, I would let this go for that much because, I mean, before I even ran it, I put my FlySky system in it. There's so much more I can do with this. This is the FlySky GT3C Titanium Edition. Has a LiPo battery in the bottom. Great range. Never had a problem with it. So, and I've had this for about a year now. Here recently, within the past, I don't know, 3-4 months, I've got a Spectrum. But getting to the vehicle itself, a lot of things compared to the electrics, to the nitros, I'm sort of wondering why they did it. The electrics actually have threaded shock bodies. The nitros do not. One thing I found out about this is one of the first things you're going to want to do with this is get bearings for your bell crank, your steering system, because the bushings, if you look at this, the left side has very little play. The right side, you can see the amount of play. That's the bushings. So the bearing size, I've already taken a vernier caliper to it. The inside diameter is 4 millimeters, outside is 8 millimeters, and it's 3 millimeters tall, so 4 by 8 by 3. Very fast, very quick. You can see it is a 2-speed. The crazy thing is you can't even, the gearing is matched so closely you can't even hear it shift. It shifts at a very low speed, not very low speed, but you really get the low end grunt out of this motor. It does have places, there's many things you can do to this. Parts are out there for it, it's been out for a while. I added a fuel filter, as I do to all my nitros, just to make sure no shit gets into my motor, especially the carb, because if it does, then you got to completely rebuild the carb. It is the barrel type carb, where it's the barrel spins and has the hole in it. I prefer slide type, but it works. Comes with a battery box. I did have a 1100 milliamp hour hump pack 6 volt, but it was shot. It was given to me in a parts lot, and turned out that it was only taking 200 or 300 milliamp hours when it was dead. So I threw that, and I ended up putting some AA nickel metal hydrides into it. Of course, 4 of them. I never get batteries that are AA that I cannot recharge, because I think, what the hell is the point? Why am I going to spend money on something that I can use once and then I have to throw it away? Same with brushed motors. Get a brushed motor that you can change the brushes on. get a brush motor lathe, so if the commutator gets messed up, you can clean the commutator and continue using it just in case it burns out. And there's so many things that can be done. So yeah, things I'll point out is, yeah, the shock bodies are not threaded. Of course, in true HPI style, all the links are plastic, but you can upgrade that to metal. You can get CV joints for the front dog bones. You can get aluminum A-arms. Basically, you can get aluminum everything, suspension-wise. You can get better springs and shocks. I had one little hiccup. I went over a manhole cover and it tumbled. I mean, it tumbled good. And it caused this ball joint to come undone and the dog bone fell out. But I snapped it back on and it kept going and the engine didn't even shut off. So, I mean, when they say it's tough, it really is tough. Servos are actually quite good for stock servos. I usually don't like stock servos, but I may be staying with these servos for a little while. I will be going to Sadwalks as soon as I can. I still have other cars in line waiting for parts. It is shaft driven. One of the biggest things that people complain with shaft driven cars is what's called torque steer, because there is a sideways rotation. It will usually pull to the left and you have to turn it back to the right. I had to set up my steering a little because even with sub trim and trim, it was still pulling to the right, so I had to go in here, and this right here, you already have a turnbuckle right here where the servo horn connects to the bell crank. So I just had to tighten that down to make that a little shorter. But I have the bearings coming for the bell crank from Fast Eddie. They're only, what, like 89 cents? Yeah, and 3 bearings for $4 and shipping, so you're looking at $8 for 4 little bearings. And I mean, honestly, the bearings with HPI I found are very good bearings. I mean, both of these, the flux and the drift, still have stock bearings, and I've had the drift for about 7 months, never a problem. Flux rarely gets used until they reintroduce it. I rarely run this because eventually you'll need tires, new body. So I try my best not to run this because it's very fast. Collectors. Even at half throttle, it's fucking boogieing.
It's like a collector's item.
Huh?
It's almost like a collector's item.
Yeah, like my fiance said, it's pretty much right now. Even when I bought it, I was told, don't use this body because it's pretty much a collector's item right now because HPI is not distributing at the moment. Most of their stuff you cannot find, especially their on-road cars like this. I looked all over the internet. I found one at Maniac's Hobby, and there's another one at Debbie's RC World. So if you want one, you better hurry up and go get it. I believe this is about 100cc fuel tank. I don't know for sure. I love the primer. Primer pump. Most of them you have to put your finger over this and give it a fuel pump, a few pulls, or you can always take this off and blow into it, and that will, oh no, not this, you take this off from here and then you blow into it and it will send fuel to the carburetor. And then you also have to prime it a little, prime the engine, which means getting fuel into the engine so it will start. I've already bought extra glow plugs for it. One thing I really like is you can see these 3 pins. You got one here, and one here. If you take this servo horn off and disconnect this right here, take these 3 pins off, this whole radio tray comes off, so you can clean all up under that. Shaft driven, I absolutely love that. I prefer shaft driven over belt driven, because belt driven you're going to break the belts quite often. The thing I don't like about it is all the plastic. There's too much plastic for it. I mean, it wasn't an expensive car. It was only $330. And that's not bad for what you get. A nitro car that can do 50, 60 mile an hour out of the box. I don't know if I said this, but the gearing is so close you cannot hear it shift. Unless you are really paying attention. It shifts at a really low RPM. A really low speed. I don't like the pull start handle. I would like to change that to a different handle, because it's already fucked up my finger. Of course, a FlySky 3-channel receiver is in it. Eventually, you're going to put a Spectrum SRS 4210 in it, so it'll hold heading a little better. Bearings, waiting. I think I've covered pretty much everything. And you can see it's not the purple. On the first, I have a RS4 2 Nitro coming, and a RS4 3 Drift coming. And I got those for a killer of a deal. And then after that, I have a RS4 Super coming. The RS4 2 and the RS4 Super isn't even made anymore. Parts are hard to find for them, so the 2 and the Super are basically going to be put up. After you get the bearings for this, one thing you're really going to want to look into if you want to get more power out of it is a pipe. I can't remember who makes the pipe for it, but it's a silver pipe. It's all one piece instead of having this rubber coupling. So that really helps. It's not a flow-through design. It comes in, a charge comes in the front and then goes out the side. That's really it has gear differentials. Trying to remember everything. I like the tires. I love the black and green. That was one thing that I saw. There are other ones out there. You have a Stingray body. You have a Barracuda body. A BMW M Series GT3 body. I believe that's about it when it comes to the bodies that come with it. But the only ones you can find right now are the Corvette, possibly the Cuda, and maybe this one if you get the one at Davies RC. But overall, it's been a blast thus far, except for the tumble that I took with it. But that was breaking it in. And also, I will say, HPI's way of breaking in their motors is much better than Traxxas break-in method. Traxxas break-in method is you put load on the motor immediately. You never want to do that with a nitro engine. You want it to idle for at least 3 tanks for that engine to start polishing and start breaking in some. With Traxxas, as soon as you start it, you're giving it a quarter throttle and then getting on the brake, quarter throttle, getting on the brake, and then you only 5 tanks. This one is, I would say, 6 tanks to break it in, 3 tanks idling up off the ground, and then 3 tanks not going past half throttle. Overall, I'm super happy with it. It's a great little car. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's honestly one of my favorites that I have right now. I am going to look into the pipe, of course, turnbuckles. I don't know if I'm going to go to aluminum. I may go to aluminum casters and caster blocks, and also in the rear. But as for the arms themselves, I don't think I'm going to go aluminum. I'm going to stay plastic. Because, I mean, they're going to wreck. Things are going to break. And I'd rather something minor, cheap break than something that costs 2 or 3 times, sometimes 4 times the price of plastic, and also heavier. Usually with metal, you get more weight, but you also get less play. So I think that about covers it. I'm really pissed off that basically I lost the unboxing video. I got this and my new phone, the Note 7, on the same day. I recorded it with my Note Edge, and somehow it got lost in transition from moving everything from my Note Edge over to my Note 7. So that sucks. But, I mean, it's an unboxing video. I mean, you want to see an unboxing video, they're all over the place. Although there are not a lot of videos about this vehicle. I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of running videos about it, but actually sitting down and talking about the vehicle, there's not a lot of videos about that. The tires are really grippy. It could use a little bit of a softer compound like on the Flux, but it is a nitro. It's not going to go as fast as the Flux, because the Flux is electric, so you got more power. But I myself, I prefer nitro over electric, because nitro, you get fuel, you get batteries. I mean, yes, there is a little bit of maintenance, but not as much as there used to be. That's what a lot of people read, that there's a lot of maintenance with nitros, and there really isn't. All you have to do is, after you run it, run some after oil in it, or get some fuel that when it runs out of fuel, the oil that's left over actually protects it. And that's what's nice about Traxxas fuel. I don't have to put any after run oil, and I have done it many times, like my T-Max. That's got a brand new engine in it. I have not put after run oil in it one time. I use WD-40. It has worked fine for me for over a year. WD-40 works absolutely fine. Of course, I want to thank, like usual, my fiance. She doesn't enjoy these videos, but now that she sees that I'm getting paid for them, she's sort of being a little more okay with it. So, honestly, if you like this video and you would like to see more RC videos, because I'm constantly collecting cars. I'm more of a collector than a basher or anything. That's why I got rid of the X-Max. I'm more of a racer and a collector. I have, including drones, helicopters, stuff like that, and mini quadcopters, I have 27 vehicles. Once I get the other RS4s that I have set to buy on the 1st and halfway through the month, it'll bring me up to 30. And that is, I started collecting July 17th of 2015, and I'm already up to 27 vehicles, 30 vehicles by the end of September. So, of course, like usual, any questions, comments, please like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Always helps. And I'll always continue making videos. I always check my notifications, see if anybody's commented or asked a question. I'll always give my advice on what I have learned. I have learned a lot in just 1 year, because I have OCD and I get obsessed about this kind of stuff. It sort of takes over my life, and you can ask my fiance, that is true.
Yes.
But they are so damn fun. But at the same time, you have to put your priorities in order. I will say one last thing. The body clips that come with it are silver. I had some leftover black ones from this and the Flux. So I put the silvers away, and so when I put this body on, this antenna usually is like this long. It's set up for a 27 megahertz, But with the Fly Sky, it's only coming to about right here. But I want the antenna to stick through a little. It does have a hole. You can start it like this as long as you have fuel in it, because you can't open the fuel door with the body on. But if you have fuel in it, you can start it. You can grab the pull start right here, and then you can put your glow plug igniter down through this hole right here, and just give it a couple yanks, and it'll start right up. That's what I love about these that I've found thus far, is they are very, very user-friendly as long as you prime it. There's the primer pump right there. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Got any questions, comments, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Till next time, peace.